I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings, and midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's gray, I hear it in the deep heart's core. I believe in Yeats' poem, he was talking about going to an ideal serene place, such as this. A place where everything's calm and you don't have to worry about the stresses and the pressures of society today.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that if you go to that serene place, it'll only be serene for so long. So you still got to do the work to keep yourself fed, keep your house running, stay healthy, all that stuff. So I mean, I think he's got a decent idea, but he just did not follow through with it enough to realize that it was impractical.
But at the same time, his philosophy also stems from the religious aspect of a Garden of Eden. I believe the Lake Island Innisfree, the island itself and the cabin, he takes this as his own Garden of Eden, a place of religious freedom and devotion. What do you think?
I can see where you're going with that, but again, he's the only one there, so there really wouldn't be any religious intolerance because it's only him.
But he's trying to get away from the atrocities of the time period, the atrocities of the oppressive society that he was living during, and how he felt that the world around him was crumbling.
I can understand that because he grew up in a time where there was probably very little mechanization. But as he got older and older, and he began this, you would see that the Industrial Revolution was taking hold, and all the nature that was around was, in fact, going away. As far as humor, it was actually probably still a lot more natural than the way the world is now. But I mean, I can see where he's coming from.
Yes, this stems from his theory of 2 rotating interlocking gyres, where as one gyre moves away, the other one comes into focus. Whereas the society he grew up in was slowly moving away and crumbling, whereas the new society that he feared and he hated was being born.
So these 2 societies, one is the natural world and one is the industrial world?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, one is the natural world of Innisfree, the peaceful, calm world, and yet that is the one he wants to hold on to, yet the world of oppressiveness and harshness is what he believes is to be coming, and he believes this is the destruction of man.
Well, for the time, I can see how you might think that. There was a general feeling, I know, at the time that the world was actually getting worse as it went on, because there wasn't the technological advancements that we have now. But I think that looking back on it, you can say that society has in fact progressed to a level where it's actually pleasurable to be in society now, more so than it would have been in the year 1800, say, where there was very little mechanization and there was a lot of nature around. But there was still just as many hardships as there are now, much more death and disease, and it was generally a much harder time, I think.
So you could say that his ideal society might have to be shaped to the new and upcoming age, where the thing is, Yeats didn't want to change his ideals. He wanted to stay with what the society that he grew up with. He wanted to stay with what he knew, with what was familiar. He didn't want to shape his world to what he believed was a destructive society.
Well, I can understand that, but that's also just based off of the idea that change is bad. And that was the idea in his time, is that change was bad. It was an idea that in the beginning, everything was really nice. It's the whole Garden of Eden concept, where in the beginning everything was perfect, and then humans just went and messed it all up, and it's been going downhill from there. The The idea that things are getting better with time is a relatively modern idea. So in that regard, you can see where he's coming from. The idea of the time was, change is bad. Like, we're doomed for destruction. So, I mean, I can see where he's coming from with that, but you really didn't see where it would be going.
Let's just end there.
No, just keep moving, just keep moving. We're going to keep talking, don't cut this out. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the island, what's on the island. Like, the nine rows of beanstalks. Bean trees, beanstalks?
Yeah, the 9 rows, his cabin. His cabin was where he wanted to be. He grew up on a lake.
No.
Yeah.
I just feel like 9 rows of beans would not be enough to support you for very long. I feel like we should expand on that a little bit.
Well,
Done a little, research into how much an actual person eats versus how much a beanstalk can actually provide.
I mean, Phil,
Can you account for these numbers?
I cannot.
Then maybe you should not judge other people for not accounting for them. If you're going to be commentating and
I am going
criticizing
to be
his work.
commentating, and I'm very, very angry
If you're criticizing his work,
beanstalk lack of knowledge about beanstalks.
maybe you just didn't want to elaborate and you wanted to keep it short and sweet, and not go on and on about how much beanstalks provide.
Well, maybe he should have, because I, for one, am confused about how many beans.
I think the beanstalk was just a symbol.
Yeah, I don't really think
of
beanstalk.
self-supporting himself in this lake island. It was just simple. It wasn't. He actually needed that many beanstalk. It was just he used that as an example to show that he could be self-sufficient and to live in his ideal society alone. I believe that's the root of